How about a smile?
Hey, y'all.
Smile for me, Didi. Come on now, smile.
Hope everybody's good.
She's dirty. I've been here for 6 months taking care of her. We do things different now. She's happy.
Everybody doing good tonight. Just checking in. It's been about a month. Hey, y'all. Hey, I see you over there, the king. I see you. So, tonight, season 2, episode 31. No, it's been about a month or so since I've been on. I had a series of family hospitalizations, to say the least. So, we're back. I have these 2 seasons left. Hey, girl. I have these 2 seasons left. These 2 episodes left, which is 31 and 32 for this season. Then we're going to be on a little break. And when we come back, we're going to be at the same time, new night. Hey, hey. Hey there, everybody. Facebook, Instagram. So tonight, season 2, episode 31, 5 ways to find your niche. So, you know. Hey, Lala, I see you on there. Everybody good? What's been popping? Everybody been good? Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to jump right in here in a minute. Y'all let me know. I'm just getting logged on to both. Facebook and Instagram. I don't know. My internet is lagging for some reason at home. And I don't know because I paid the price for it. It should not be doing that. But what can you say? No. All right. Okay. All right. So 5 ways to find your niche. So if you are lucky enough in life to know what it is that you want to do or what your true passion is, so many times we don't know what that is. We know the things that we enjoy. We don't really always know what it is we're going to do. A lot of times we fall into the situation where we do the things that we are familiar with doing and know how to do. Rather than the things that we really want to do. We don't follow our passion a lot of times. And really, you have to follow your passion and not be afraid. Even if you have to follow your passion in a part-time, capacity. In other words, you have a full-time job or full-time income coming in, and you can take a look at and build upon what it is that you love. This I can say with 100% certainty goes very well. It's very good advice for, and it's something that people do right now all the time. Welcome if you're joining on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you. Appreciate it. How are y'all doing? Everybody's good? Good. All right. Okay. So a lot of times like artists, musicians, writers, and all of that, they will, they know that you still have to have a financial plan. You have to finance that, right? You have to finance that, finance your passion, right? Because you have to continue to work because you got to keep the rent paid, and you got to keep the bills paid, right? If you have expenses and just in general, the things that it costs you to live, you've got to finance those things. So you actually have to have a job, right? So that you can do that, right? All right. So while you're trying to find out or trying to pursue your passions, you have to somehow pay the bills, right? Okay, gotta pay the bills. So a lot of times we fall into a situation. Hey there on Instagram and Facebook. Hey there. Hey lady. Good to see you. Tonight we are talking about season 2, episode 31, finding your niche. Hey there. I see you on Instagram and on Facebook. Hello, y'all. Hello. I do want y'all to chime in and give your opinions. If you are passionate about something and you know what it is that, you want to do with your life. A lot of times we're afraid, right? Because, our dreams might not pay the bills, right? Or we weren't raised to or fostered in the way, or we weren't brought up in a way to where we were, encouraged to follow our dreams, right? We kind of maybe have fallen into the family business, or we followed, we fell into, armed services of some kind, or private industry. We followed, if our parents were an accountant or a bookkeeper or a manager, or if they had a family business, we kind of fell into that. So a lot of times we fall into situations and we're not really happy. Hey, boo. I see you, Kiki. Thank you. So a lot of times we fall into, hey, Brandy wine. So a lot of times we fall into what we're good at. For me, I had a mom that was, I have a mom, but I'm saying when I was younger, my mom was in property management and bookkeeping. And so of course that came, in a clerical sense, and skill set, marketing and leasing, and, for real estate and apartments and all of that. Hey girl, all of that, it came natural. So I learned very, very early on about bookkeeping and, accounts receivable, payables, all about the money. All right, about money and management. So I fell into those things, right? Naturally, I fell into those things and went into customer service and all of that and worked my way all the way up to different things. C. Clairlyn says, I'm 51 and still haven't found my niche, right? It happens, right? Because a lot of times you really don't know, especially if you're a person who's creative and you have so much creativity that you're good at many things. Usually a person who's creative is good at a lot of things. So if you are creative, or artsy per se, you're good at certain things. But a lot of times we don't follow our passion because, again, that's not what keeps the roof over our head or pays our bills and whatnot, right? So a lot of times we don't really, follow that passion right off. And a lot of times, really what, I really want to encourage people to do is to follow their passion and follow their dreams and not be afraid. Even if you have to do it in a part-time sense, stick to that goal, stay on it, follow it, and so that you can eventually one day achieve your goal, right? Okay, of what it is that you would love to do. People always say, oh, you should love your job. I don't really know people who love their job unless it's something that they are passionate about and they love it. It doesn't mean that you have to be 100% owner of something, or you even have to own anything. A lot of times, you are your own commodity, right? You are okay, so I'll give you an example. If you, like I say again, if you're very creative, right? So whenever I was younger, me and my best friend would write, we would freestyle or write rhymes or write poetry, and do our little mixtapes and stuff like that, right? We both had experience, in my little group had experiences doing singing hooks or doing rap hooks on songs or whatever, hanging out in the studio and all that kind of stuff, and learning about music and learning about production. All my little crew pretty much, right. Okay. But that was what we were passionate about, but we weren't really sure, we were good at it. So we did it. But at the same time, hey, big bro, I see there on Facebook. So we weren't really sure, exactly what we were going to do with that. We still had day jobs per se, right? How they say, keep your day job. We had day jobs. We had a job of things that we were doing. And so when you're a creative person, you may not know, it may not go in that direction. No, you might not be a platinum rapper, or maybe you may not aspire to, maybe you like to sing and you like to sing hooks, or maybe you like to write poetry, but you're not going to be necessarily a poet, right? Maybe you may, like I said, may sing hooks and you might end up being a backup singer if, that might be your niche, right? You never really know what you're going to be. But if you are creative and you have a voice, you can go in so many directions with it. And what I'm trying to lead up to say is, I always use the voice that I had, what I'm saying? And I was always able to write poetry, and I was very articulate with writing and reading and teaching, those type of things. So it's no surprise that, it had to be, 20 plus years into my life before I discovered that, I really like to do voice work. That's what I like to do. That's my thing. I like to create commercials and do commercial readings and audiobooks. I just wrapped up, recording an audiobook a week and a half ago, so that's my thing. So I'll be able to own intellectual rights to my own work, my voice, and, share my voice with the world, and do acting per se, audio, on the audio level, right? So you should always do whatever it takes to pursue your passions. And you might not know exactly what it is, but like I say, if you are creative, and you are on that creative wave and you have that energy about you, then it's highly possible that you might stumble into what it is that you're supposed to be doing. People always told me, oh, you have a great voice. I did customer service. So, they're like, oh, your voice is great for customer service, but not necessarily for an answering service, per se, because I talk fast. Also, you know, I have the ability to reach people at any level, anybody, anywhere. I'm not afraid of anything, so I'm very outgoing, and I'm not afraid to speak to anybody, you know, and I don't think I'm better than anybody. So it always worked out for me to be a people person, or to market or social network, you know, go out networking, meeting people. Never been afraid, kind of like a little butterfly, right? All over the place, meeting people, doing all kind of things, you know, and hooking up events and all kind of stuff, party planning or whatever. I'm very creative. So without all of that being said, that's sort of where I was going with, you know, you may not exactly know, and you might learn later, but there are things that you can do so that you don't waste any more time working for the man, or working for people, or making other people rich. There are things that you can do to kind of figure out what your niche is. So the very first thing that you can do is sort of what I was talking about already when I was kind of introducing this topic, and sort of what you can do to find your niche early on, because you may not know, right? Sometimes in school or whatever, they will give you like tests about like what your skill set is. They will give you like personality tests that give you sort of an idea of what you might be good at. Are you an introvert? Are you an extrovert? Are you good with people? You know, are you scientific? You know, all these kind of things. You know, are you medically inclined? Are you mechanically inclined? All of these things might pop up on these tests that they give you, right? It's sort of like career testing. But if you come from where I'm from, and you know, your high school didn't necessarily invest in you, your counselor or career development didn't really invest anything in you, kind of you were from the wrong side of the track. Hey, Tina, nice to see you. They may have not taken the time to invest or even try to steer you in a direction for a career, or even find out what your goals were. I mean, even in high school, I was doing like, you know, a co-op where you go to school half a day and work half a day. And I was doing customer service and cashiering and marketing and leasing and cosmetology. I was in the cosmetology program because I like things that are pretty, making things pretty, you know, doing makeup and hair and nails. And so you just never really know. So if you don't have that, I've been knowing you almost my whole life. I can just ask you, what is my niche? Right, right, right. I'm going to talk to you about that in a minute, because I think I have an idea about it, but it's really something you have to love with your whole heart, Lala. You got to love it with your whole heart, and there's no denying it. I mean, that's how I feel. It's like I listen to the inner voice and my intuition sometimes, you know, and it tells me what I should be doing. You know what I mean? What makes me feel good. And you also have to practice at it, because practice makes perfect, right? Okay. All right. So step one, so we can go ahead and get right into it, is to evaluate your passions and your skills. Sit down, take a piece of paper, write down what it is you believe that you are good at. So the first step in evaluating your passions and your skills is to sit down, write it down, be very honest. If you know that you're not really good at something, then you know you might want to leave that off the list. Maybe that you don't like it. I'm great, thank you. You might determine, you know, by writing it down, you know, the pros and cons of that particular avenue that you're exploring. You might find out that you might not like it so much, you know, what's involved with it, right? So take the moment and the time to sit down, put a pen to paper. I always say that makes it real, right? When you write something down, you can talk yourself out of a lot of things, but when it's time to be honest, and you put the pen to the pad per se, or tap your, you know, your notes and add a note on your, you know, your Android or your iPhone, you know, you go on and you make it written down. It's pen to paper, tap that screen, and it also makes it very real, because you can come back. That's why they tell you to journal and to diary, to make sure that you write down your feelings in the moments that you're feeling it, right? You're going to be a professional sheet folder. I believe that, right? You're very good at it. I think you'd be great at that. I honestly have an idea about you, and I think that it goes higher than what you even aspire, I believe. And it's not because you're timid, because you're not timid. I just think that you have to have that push in the right direction. But anyway, I'll be back at that. So sitting down, welcome, Corin. Haven't seen you in a long time. So sit down and put pen to pad or make notes that help you evaluate your passion and skills. Make a list. What is it that you're passionate about? What do you do in your free time? What do you do that you enjoy the most, right? You might be a person who enjoys fishing, right? And you might be missing the boat here. No pun intended. But you might be missing your boat because you might be very good at being a professional fisher, right? but you would kind of know that already if you were really good at it. You know what I mean? What if you are a person who loves, exotic cars, or loves, ATVs, or loves RVs, or a person who can talk and learn? You won't be a person that's filled with useless knowledge. You actually will have, I know you were, you actually will have an idea in your mind you've absorbed, and you won't be this person that's just like the queen or king of useless knowledge. No amount of knowledge is ever useless. Let's clear that up off top, right? Anything that you can learn, anything that you can retain, that's all at some point, it's all information that's going to be pertinent to you, especially if it is supposed to be in your destiny. It definitely will be, right? Okay. Yes, I know, darling. You were joking. You're so funny, right? Okay, but you're really good at it, right? And you taught me. I taught a lot of people too. And I always gave the credit where credit was due, to be a professional sheet folder, especially that fitted sheet. That's the one that everybody wants to learn how to fold. We might have to do a demonstration sometime, right? So step one, are five ways to find your niche. It's the first, evaluate your passion and your skills. Take pen to pad, sit down, write it down. It doesn't matter. Again, you could be in a situation where, it's later in life. You didn't necessarily follow the dreams. You had to put food on the table, keep a roof over the head. You had children to raise. You had to take care of an ill family member, or spouse or parents. Anything could have happened that you were not in a position. And a lot of times things happen when they're supposed to happen, right? You might have had a whole career, and maybe it's the second wind or the second time of your life, the second portion of your life. Hey, baby, I see you. Second portion of your life, the second half, they say, right? And you are there, and you are discovering what it is that you are really passionate about. So find your passion. Give me just a second, y'all. Find your passion and your skills. Take pen to pad, write it down, and find out what that is. Naomi, leave that cord alone. Lord, this dog child of mine is out of control. Okay, so that's what you do first, right? Okay. Then once you have put pen to paper, pen to pad, or notes, and you have written down what it is that you enjoy the most, whether it's something that you do all the time, or it's something that you do in your spare time, or it's something that you've been thinking about for a while, put the pen to the pad, write down a list of your skills, your aspirations, what it is that you really enjoy the most, whether that's a hobby that you really enjoy. Maybe you're a writer. Maybe you really are a writer and you don't know it. Maybe you really are a poet and you don't know it. Maybe you really have, skill set for marketing and you don't know it. Maybe, again, like I was saying about people who come into knowing all about exotic cars or ATVs or recreational vehicles, people that know about all of those things. Maybe you're really low-key a salesperson and you didn't know it. Maybe you enjoy meeting and talking with people, and maybe you could sell them air. Who knows? You just really don't know. So that's why it's necessary for you to first, step one, evaluate your passion and your skills. Put pen to pad, write it down, take a look at what it is. Hey lady, thanks for joining. So tonight we're talking about five ways to find your niche. So we are barely on step one. Maximo, welcome. We are barely on step one, which is to evaluate your passions and skills. And I say the best way for you to do that and to make that conversation and to make that statement real is to take pen to pad or to notes and write down what it is that you are passionate about. Write down what it is that you are good at. What is your skill set that you know of? And you may find out while you're writing this down and you're evaluating each one of those things that you're passionate. It might be one, it might be 10. While you're there writing them down and evaluating them, at that moment, you may discover that maybe I'm really not that crazy about that one, so we can X that one off of the list, right? Okay, so moving on to step 2. Once you have evaluated your passion and your skill set, you sort of have to take a look at the market that you're in, which means what city do you live in? What country do you live in? What state do you live in? Do you have something to offer that area or that market per se that is in a space where it's not saturated already? Are you a salesperson? Okay, if you're a salesperson and you're like a slogan salesperson and maybe you like to create things, so you like to create t-shirts or clothing, are you in a market or an area that's already completely saturated? You have to figure that out. It may require that you, welcome there on Instagram, it may require that you actually have to go to a different market. Maybe you have family or friends in another state, city, or country that you can go to, and maybe you can market what you have there. Think about it. Just because the market may be saturated where you are, the closest city may be saturated where you are, or even your country may be saturated, that doesn't necessarily mean that another country could not appreciate what you have to offer, or a market or a city, right? So you sort of have to go and figure out if there is a market for your niche. And if there is a market, where is it at? If it's not in your own neighborhood, that doesn't mean you give up your dream. Welcome, Erica. That doesn't mean that you give up your dream. It means that you figure out where your skill set or where your passion is necessary or needed at, and you go there. Think about, if you were younger, where your parents may have migrated from, or where your family may have initially migrated from. Where did you come from? You know what I mean? I'm not from Texas originally. I'm in Texas because my parents came here when I was, 8 years old. They came here. That's how I got here. So they came here because they evaluated the market. They said, okay, this is my skill set. This is what I'm good at. These are the services that I have to offer. Okay, here I'm here. The market is sort of saturated for this professional skill that I have, or for what I'm passionate about. But here, and this is kind of way back, but here they might pay $7 an hour for it where I live. But out there in Houston, Texas, they pay $12 or $13 an hour for it. And guess what? I have friends or relatives or family that are there in Houston that have already gone there, that have been successful. So, hey, guess what? The kids are staying with my parents, and we're going to start a life out there. Let's go. And they were brave enough to do it. And sometimes you have to be brave enough to do it. You can find friends or family members, loved ones, other, people that you look up to, whether that might be a mentor or other professional people that you connect with, that you have a relationship with. And hey, you know what? Take their couch or take their spare bed for a month or two in that city, right? Don't be afraid. This is why it's good to have savings and to have money saved up so that you can do these type of things. You can relocate if you need to. You can go and get your feet wet. You can have an extended vacation to go out and see what there is to offer you where you're trying to go, and see in your market where you're going. I have a friend that used to tell me all the time, girl, you're awesome. What you have, what you get paid here, say what you get paid $25 an hour for here, I can promise you that you can get $50, $60 an hour, and I'm not joking. Why don't you come out here to New York? Well, of course, the cost of living is more expensive in New York. Of course they pay higher, right? But my thing is that just because I'm good at something, that doesn't mean that I necessarily want to go to another city and get paid for that. No, for me, it's important for me to follow my passion and to know that I know exactly what it is I'm supposed to be doing. And I promise you that there's no other feeling in the world than when you really know with all certainty what it is that your life journey is. What is it that you're supposed to be doing? And for some of us, that might be that we're supposed to be an at-home mom, or we're supposed to be a foster mom, or we're supposed to be adoptive parents, or it could be anything. It could be even a situation to where that we are supposed to be a foster parent, period, a dad, a family, all these things. We might be in a situation where we are supposed to host people from other countries or other cultures. We never really know what it is we're supposed to be doing. We might find out that we're good at teaching, and so we might need to figure out what it takes for us to be that. There's nothing worse than having an education and not doing anything with it. Not because you can't, but because you're not passionate about it. There's no interest there, right? I have 2 degrees, one in liberal arts and one in social science, which is all about sociology and psychology and political science. And you say that it is relatable in a sense because I do use it, because I do use a social science degree, and I do sort of use a liberal arts degree. It's a broad spectrum of what we do with that degree. But I can say I could go into teaching if I wanted to. I could go into coaching if I want to. I can go into development if I want to. I can do lots of things, right? I did customer service for a very long time. Customer service is not something that I really enjoy because I don't like people talking crazy to me because, I don't have to put up with that crap, right? Not for any dollar amount. I'm not going to. So what I'm saying is that we never really know. Sometimes we fall into what we're supposed to be into. Sometimes we learn through the ups and downs and the bumps in the road, right? Okay. So what we have to do is evaluate it. That's number 1. Evaluate your passions and your skills. And step 2 is to figure out if there is a market for your niche in your area. Once you have determined what it is, you have to go in and figure out. And Lala says, right. I see you there on Instagram. Okay, so, you have to go in and figure out if there's a market for it. And guess what? If there is a market, if there's not a market for it, if it's saturated where you are, go find it somewhere else. Don't be afraid. And these days and times, we can see the world. We can see the world, live. We can see the world through webcam. We can see the world, our friends through, FaceTime, Snapchat, whatever. You can see it through everywhere. Live on all kinds of things. So you have an opportunity. So once you have determined what it is that you are passionate about, what you're good at, and you have honed in on it, you have figured that out. You have sort of like your list of what it is you're good at. Okay, I'm creative. So these are the things that I could do with my creativity. Or I'm good with numbers, or I'm good in sales. Okay, all right, let's go into step 3. Step 3 is where you have to go in and narrow down. Welcome over there on Instagram, I see you. Step 3 is where you go in and you narrow down your niche. So you narrow it down. So I might be good at sales. So if I'm good at sales, what kind of sales am I going to do? Am I going to be a real estate agent? What kind of real estate agent, or what market am I going to do if I'm a real estate agent? Am I going to do luxury properties only? That's one thought, right? Some people do luxury properties only, where they only deal with a certain echelon of people, right? Which could be, sports people that are sports celebrities, or music celebrities, or any kind of celebrity, period. Or just, a top 10% or top 20%, whatever. You could be in a situation where you only do, the upper echelon or whatever. That could be your choice. Or again, if you're in sales, you might decide that you want to, sell luxury vehicles, or, ATVs or RVs or whatever. Things that aren't just like a normal everyday, and there's nothing wrong with it if you're a car salesperson and you're good at that. There's nothing wrong with it. If you can sell anything. Again, like I said, if you're good at sales, you could sell air. And we know that air doesn't cost anything right now, right? Okay, not right now. Not air conditioning. I'm talking about the air you breathe doesn't cost anything right now. I'm being sarcastic, right? Okay, so once you get to step 1 and 2 and you've got that accomplished, and you figured out by putting pen to pad and figured out what it was, then you figured out if there's a market. If not, you know that you're going to go to it, right? You're going to go find where it's at. Once you get there, then it's time for you to narrow down specifically what it is. Okay, I could be a voice artist, but what am I doing? Am I just doing voiceovers? Am I going in? I'm doing audiobook. What am I going to do? You know what I mean? Am I going to do voice acting? Am I going to try to do, cartoon characters? What am I going to do? Am I going to do the voice for that? What is it that I'm interested in, and how am I going to do it? Right? So it can be overwhelming when you don't really know where to start. But I can promise you that if you take the time to really try to figure it out, network with people that are doing the same thing that you're interested in doing, even if they have a lot of experience, they have years of experience, or they've made a career out of it, those are the best ones to mentor you, right? And just go in and say, hey, I'm very honest. I don't have a lot of experience with this, but I know that I'm good at it. So therefore, I want to do it, right? Okay, cartoons, right? That's something I really want to go for, right? And I'm trying to figure that out. I'm figuring out, the avenue for that, right? That's really what I want to do. I really would love that, and that's the thing that I want to do too. But I love to read, and I love the audiobook side of it. I really enjoy the voice acting. So that's my thing, right? So I have narrowed it down. So you have to narrow down what it is that you're doing specifically. So, you can, like I say, you can network with people that are like-minded. You can find a mentor. You can look to people that have experience already. Go with them and talk with them about it. Really try to figure out what it is to develop. And actually, you can study them. You can be their understudy too. You can help them with whatever that needs to be helped with. That's what actors do. They have an understudy, and you do all kinds of things. You can learn. There are all kinds of free workshops. There's all kinds of things that you can do. You can join forums. You can join groups. You can follow people that do blogs. You can do all kinds of things. You can read the books that people write or publish about their own experiences. There's all kinds of things out there, and those things do not always cost money. I tell you that if you apply yourself, you will really find what it is that you're looking for. There's going to be a whole lot, because that World Wide Web is huge. Google, and all of them are huge. They can be overwhelming, right? But if you hone in on where you should be and you concentrate on that, then you can really get to where you need to go, and you can figure it out. So that's your third step, is to narrow down the niche. Once you get there, you got to narrow it down. Fourth, once you make it to that point, you have to check out your competition. It's very important for you to check out your competition. You have to know what you're up against. It's necessary for you to know in your market who your competition is. So if you are a person who produces t-shirts and you market slogan shirts, or if you produce clothing, if you're a photographer, you're creative like that, if you are a voice artist, if you like, if you do whatever you do, if you're a model, if you're an actress or an actor, if you're a car salesperson or a salesperson in general, if you are a medical professional, take a look at your competition. Figure out who it is you're competing with. How many people are there? You know what I'm saying? You're going to want to look at what's going on around you. How many people are you competing with in your same area? Again, if you know you're a mass production for, if you own a studio and you work with recording and mixing, mastering for artists, how many are there in your area? I always say that you can sort of go in and dominate your market. Another thing that I love to do is bake, right? I've always said that when I retire one day, I don't know when it'll be, I'll have me a little bakery where people can come in and sit in and have coffee or whatever and pick up a pastry or pick up whatever, right? Right. And so I always say that, right, that you have to go in and you have to do that, right? And you have to take a look at the place that you're looking at working in so that you can kind of go out and dominate it. Right? There's so many things I want you to think. Let's think for 1 minute. Like beauty, health and beauty services, they're everywhere, right? Spas, all kinds of day spas, tanning salons, brow bars, makeup bars, hair, salons, beauty salons, haircuts, men's salons, all kind of things that there are everywhere. But if you take your a dream and your aspiration and you are ready and you have your proper licensing and everything, then you go out and you dominate the market. Go there to where they don't really have it and go just bang. By the time you get there, you're the only one there in that area. It could be a small little area. There might be a need for it. You know what I'm saying? It's like when a mall pops up, in a little town, right? And it's where people just been going on YouTube and people have been just watching and following blogs and people just been watching Facebook and Facebook Live and they've been seeing their makeup tips, and oh my God, a Sephora comes or, a MUA store or, a Mac store or a Macy's comes or a Dillard's comes and they have all these makeup stores and makeup counters. And then it's like, bam, everybody's running to that place, right? So you have already cornered the market. You're there first and you are the one who's you're going to build the history. Think about how all these stores came up and how all of these Best Buys and Walmart, okay, all the places that came up, they started somewhere. They dominated the area. They built the history. Then they came into the big cities or whatever in the little towns, and they just took over. They dominated. So you could be in a situation where you could do that too. Whether you have a recording studio, you could be doing that. Whether you're a filmmaker, you could be doing that. Whether you're filming documentaries, whatever you're doing, you can be in your area. You can be Oprah in that area. You can be a master, a master producer. You can mix and master. You can own that recording studio. You can be a platinum rapper. You can be whatever you want to be. You've dominated that area and that market. So it's important for you to do that. So you've got to check out the competition. Check out the competition. And like Lala says, shop the competition, right? And then to go back in, and Tina says, niche is something that you are super good at and easy with using your hands and ideas and accomplishing it better than others, right? That is sort of what it is. It's what you're good at. Everybody has their own, we might see something that we like to do. Welcome, Ebony. We might see something that we like to do and we might think that, but once we get hands on, Tina, then we might realize that we're not really good at it. It sounded good. It looked good, but then you know what? Sometimes it's too much hard work, right? The work is too hard for us. And maybe that's how we know that that's not really for us, right? So we figured that out. So now we know, maybe I'm an interior decorator. And maybe I don't know it. Maybe I can see something and put it together. That's another thing that I do. It's like when you're creative, you're like shopping, you're like a personal shopper. I'm good at that. You're all over the place. But when you see something, you can put it together. You can put an outfit together. And I, used to do that, shopping for people. And it's really neat to put people's outfits together, and accessories and whatever, and getting them ready for a night out or whatever. So maybe I could have had a shop where I rent out gowns or whatever. In that same shop that I could have had that, I could have made it a whole situation where I offer spa services, a day of pampering, whatever. You can go in so many different directions whenever you figure it out, but you have to absolutely check out the competition in your area, right? So real quickly run back through. First of all, in order to figure out what your niche is, to finding it, you have to sit down, put pen to pad. Hey, baby, I see you. Put pen to pad. Basically, you have to evaluate your passion and what you're good at, your skill set. Write it all down, right? Number two, then you have to figure out if there's a market in your area for your particular niche. If there's not, do not be afraid to go where you are, desired. Go to whatever city, state, town, country. There's somewhere that somebody is just dying for your product or service. It's there somewhere. Somebody needs to know about you. Have you ever come across a person and you're like, wow, we need you. We need something like this. We need a person like you. We need this over here. You just don't even realize. I mean, it's like I get received in other cities and states, in amazing ways. I mean, especially the South. I mean, I haven't really traveled a lot for the North as far as being grown and as far as doing my voice work or any type of modeling or brand modeling or ambassadoring. Anything that I've done, or hosting, I've never really traveled a lot up north or even outside of the country to do those things, so I really don't know. But I've always been well received in the South, Atlanta and places in Georgia, in the suburbs or whatever, and in Florida where I'm from, you know what I'm saying, and Alabama, and Texas, Mississippi, I've been well received in those places. So, I know that there's a market for me in those areas. Now, I'd actually have to go out and travel and sort of tour to know if I were, a marketable, or if my skill set, or if my particular niche was something that was needed in a bigger city, or in a different market up north, right? I've had people tell me, come up north, and brand model for me here. Your look is unique or different, and wow, you would get booked up here like that. What I'm saying? All the paid gigs. It wouldn't be any TFPs or trading off, goods for services or whatever. It wouldn't be any of that. It would be a whole lot of work, because what a lot of people don't realize is when you do this type of work, if you're a brand ambassador or a model, a lot of times you don't really get paid for everything that you do, because you are basically trading off, for your portfolio, right? Okay. All right. Okay. So once you get there, you figure out if there's a market for you. Then you narrow down your niche. You figure out what it is, and you've narrowed it down to that specific. So, okay, I enjoy working with my voice. What is it that I like to do with my voice the most? Am I a singer? Am I a rapper? Am I a narrator only, or am I a voice actress? Am I going to go in and read audiobooks, or am I going to just go in studio and do voiceovers and do plugs for songs or labels? What am I going to do? What do I do? Do I just do commercials? What is it that I aspire to do? I have at that point sat down and narrowed down exactly what I'm going to do. Now, don't limit yourself. If you're good at all of it, absolutely do all of it. Welcome, Lauren. That's a fitness pro right there. I see her later owning her own fitness studio. Yes, because she's good at it. She's motivating people. She's good at motivating people. That's her niche. Whether she sees it or not, I see it. Keynote speaker. Got it, right? Got it. That's what I'm saying. I believe that, I believe that I have the voice, that I have the experience to inspire a lot of people. That's something that I want to do later after I have become accomplished in my area, in my particular arena, so that I can go to people and say, hey, guess what? Because this market that I'm in, believe it or not, there's not a whole lot of people who do it. Not in Houston, because even when I was looking for a mentor in Houston, there really weren't a lot of people that do it here. Even when I was here, looking for a mentor, there was an elderly man, he was like the best one that was the one to do it, but he wasn't really keen on helping people, learn or mentoring. It's a turnoff. Whenever you have a skill set, hey girl, when you have a skill set, you should share that. And that eventually, Claralyn, is what I want to do. I want to go around and talk to people. I want to mentor people and give them, the steps, right? Okay, that's what I want to do. So thank you for that, because I would love to do that one day. And finally, the fifth step is to test it out. You got to test your niche out. And what do I mean by test? Hey, let's go. Let's do it. Okay, this is what I want to do. Let me create a demo for myself. That's what I had to do. Hey there. Aw, Shantae, welcome. I had to create a demo for myself. I had to start, right? Then I had to basically start. It's like any artist, right? They create a demo, they create a mixtape, and bam, they start putting it in the hands of the right people. They give it to their managers, they give it to, the record labels, they send it in. And these days it's so much easier to go in and, share on social media, people don't really realize, you have so many platforms now that you never had before, when I was coming up, not knowing things, what I'm saying, back in the time that I know, all the artists had to shop, record labels and please meet these record execs. And if somebody found you interesting or whatever, but nobody was really talking about voice artists. Even when I went to the Art Institute to talk about that, we need to do some relationship seminars. I totally agree. I'm so down with it, because you live and you learn, right? Okay, that's what Ruth says. And Miss Clairlyn says, cool, I'm going to do it too. I just have to find out what to speak about. You have to find out what it is that you're passionate about to speak about. That's what you have to do. And you have to be very organized with it. And this all comes from sitting down, organizing, writing things out. And this is where your education comes into play. The things that you learned in that old boring, language arts and English class. This is where you got to sit down and do that. You know what I mean? Where, you couldn't keep your head up or your eyes open, right? These are where these things come in. Organization, writing it out, making a plan, right? Okay, exactly. And you would know, miss in the education, arena, right? You would know. So, people know how to recognize things, and they know how to start doing live interviews. Yep, that's another thing too. You just have to find the right market for it. And guess what, too? Another thing that I really aspire to do is to do, you guys, of course, you guys know, like, and I've said it a million times, like, okay, the first 48, if you haven't seen the first 48 or whatever, the man that does the voice for the show. So, like narrating the shows, right? It's so dope because it's like, it's interesting. And really, you don't know how much you can make it come alive. Tina, he says your niche is you can simply digest and talk on any topic or issues and stitch your audience. Bravo, Anchor Woman. He always calls me that. Thank you. You have a good night. I know you got to get back to work and whatnot. So you have a great night and join us next week for 32. That's my final episode for the season. Thank you, Tina, for always being here. Everybody say bye to him. Thank you. Thank you. So you have to, figure out what it is. So for me, it's like, I like that show Snap too. I like to hear the lady's voice because it's like you make it come alive. Right? The thing that I just read, the audiobook that I just read for, we're not done with it yet, but that's going to be Necessary's book that I just read for. It's the audiobook, and it's the 12 steps, to finding basically your self-confidence is what it is, right? It's her steps. It's her stories. It's her stories of things that happen in her life that, welcome there. And so, it's the things that happened in her life that made her who she is. It's what she had to go through. So you'll see there, you'll hear soon enough, the audiobook will drop. You'll hear, that, and you'll hear me get an opportunity to act out, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different voices in the different scenarios and the different stories that she's telling about the book, right? Hey there. Thank you. See you, Tina. Oh, look, it's Claire, y'all. So, you'll get an opportunity to hear that, and you'll hear, people say, oh, wow, you really made that one come alive. I didn't even know that book. I wouldn't have just sat down and read a book. A lot of people will do audiobooks now. They will listen to audiobooks because you can listen to them while you're working out. You can listen to them while you're in the car. You can listen to them on lunch break. You can listen to them anywhere. And so you might not really be a visual person. You might be a person, who, as far as you might not be wanting the person to sit down and read a book. It might not be appealing to you to sit and just read, 100 pages or 300 pages each day or whatever. It might be boring to you, but you really want to know the story. That's why a lot of people go and watch the movies, that are based on books because they heard it was good or whatever. Or a lot of times when you go watch a movie and, you found out, it was a book, then you'll go back and you'll read the book, right? You might find that you like it better than you thought that you did. So a lot of times what we do is that we make that content come alive. And that's where I'm at. And that's why I would really love to see, yes, I would love to educate other people on it. But once I'm successful, I want to have, some more experience under my belt. And I want to be able to say, here you go, take a look at this. This is my catalog. This is what I did. And here I am, this is what I offered up. And let me know. And the thing about me is that I am very diverse and I can do many different things, many different voices, many different characters. And I, can read for anything. I mean, I've had it from where it's been highly professional commercial work all the way down to, hey, you know what? This is a story about my life. Hey, I'm from the hood. Okay. Put your foot in it. Here you go. Here's the manuscript. Take off. And that's what's happened. And you'll get an opportunity to hear that for yourself. I want my catalog and my portfolio to be so large that people can come for any genre, that people can come and do anything with me. So and you know, and book me for that. That's what I want. I would love that. I would love to have that. And that's where I'm going. And so eventually, you know, I will share my tools. I will share my experience, and I will share how I was successful in doing it. But I want to be successful before I ever even say that. So audiobook on the way. Thank you, Clarilyn. Yes, we are born with everything that we need. Sometimes we just don't know how to discover it, which goes back to tip 1. Remember, evaluate your passion and your skill set. Put it in writing. Take a look at the long list and make it a short list. Narrow it down, right? So the final step in all of that is to test it out. Like I said, testing out your niche. Once you have figured it out and you've discovered what it is, it's time for you to test it out. Go record your demo if you're a recording artist. Go write your manuscript if you are an author, if you know, or go write your poetry. Submit it. Submit it to contests. I have a friend who's a model also, Nadia. She models, and she is doing like Miss Texas, she's like Miss West Texas or whatever for Lubbock, and she's doing Miss America, and she's Miss Texas, not Miss MISS, but she's MS because it's a different age group, and she is going to be in the national pageant. And I remember, you know, she's been doing a little bit here and there, but whenever I met her, it was her first video that we did, music video that we did together. It hasn't been released yet still, but we did do it together. And she was like, it's my first time. And she was a natural, but she was very beautiful. And she actually does coaching. And now she is doing everything. And she will do, you know, she will do whatever she wants to be. There's no doubt in my mind that she could win the national pageant. Women from Texas are beautiful too. And we do have winners from Texas. She is Miss MS. She's in the Miss America pageant for Texas. She is actually the West Texas winner, you know, and she's Miss West Texas. Miss Texas, right? Okay, here we go. So that's what I'm saying. You can do anything. So you test it out. So you submit your work. If you're a photographer, submit your pictures and your portraits or whatever. There are all kinds. So there are all kinds of forms. People that I work with on photography, they will submit me for whatever theme that they're doing, right? For contests to see if they win. It's not about me. It's about the way that they photograph me. And did they nail that look, or did they nail that theme? And so that's what I'm saying. You've got to test it out. So if you think that you might be good at public speaking, you've got to test it out. If you think that you might be good in the political arena, you've got to test it out. You can do debate and you can do public speaking. And if you recognize these things in your young children or teenagers and you see that, man, you'd be a really good lawyer. Let me see. Let me put you in a law office with somebody. Let me talk to a lawyer and let them take you to the court room and just to observe and listen and mentor, right? Very important. Very important. There's so many things that you can do to see if your passion is in line with what it is you're really supposed to be doing, right? Exactly. So I want you to think about it that way. So 5 steps. Anybody else have any comments first before I go back over those 5 steps to help you find your niche? 5 ways to help you find your niche. It's 5 of them. Some of them seem like they're very, like they're very self-explanatory, and they are, but it's not basic. Sometimes we just need to be able to organize something, right? I see you. She said, hell yeah. She said, and he said, sometimes bad habits are hard to break. Sometimes they are bad, and they are hard to break. That is very true. You know, we might be in a routine, stuck in something that, you know, we've just been doing for years because we're good at it, but that might not be what we're supposed to be doing. It might not be our destiny, right? Right. So we got to figure it out. It's time for us to go on to the journey of discovery. And I promise you that we can achieve anything that we put our minds to. I want you to remember that. It doesn't matter. Don't let any age, don't let any background, don't let anybody tell you that you can't do anything that you want to do at any point in your life. You can do it. Okay? Do it the right way. Study your craft, and you can do whatever it is that you want to do. You can do whatever you want to do. I see my aunt. Look at my niece. Just popped up and saw this. Love you. You are a worker. You will be anything you want to be. 100. Go then. Thank you. All right. So I think that we're born with everything that we're supposed to be. I think that I've been a ham all my life. I was in theater arts, when I was in school. I was in debate. I was in public speaking. I was in all of that. In college, I did, a speech and public speaking. I did all of that stuff in debate. I did everything in college too. Political science. I did everything. I mean, I was standing up for the man, right? For what was right. I believe in fighting for what's right. So what does that mean? That I should have been a political activist or an activist for the people? Maybe. But, I have the voice, but I really enjoy, and I'm trying to hone what I'm good at. So that's voice artistry, and I really want to grow that. So tell me what your passion is after you take a few moments to sit down and put pen to pad and think about it. 5 ways, right? 5 ways to find your niche. Number 1, step 1, evaluate your passions and skills. Put pen to pad, write it down. It becomes real. Then you have to evaluate it. Then you can investigate it, right? Okay, so you're evaluating your passions and skills, you're writing it down, taking a look at it, and you go from there. Then once you have figured out what it is that you want to do, take a look at your area or where there is a market for what you've got. Lauren, where you can go anywhere and you can market your fitness. You can have your own fitness studio. You can market that. Again, go to an area where that's needed. You know the right people to market. Working moms, single moms, people that need to get back in shape, people that have gained a few pounds, whatever. I mean, we all, and you have a whole, the thing about the fitness is that you can offer all that, and you're good at products for energy and and meal planning and prep and all of that. You have all of that to offer. And more than anything, Lauren, you are an awesome motivator. I always loved working out with you because it was like, okay, now we got the music right. Now we got somebody who's really watching and paying attention and really in there and knowing my own weaknesses. So she's going to come over here and push me to work on, when you're in group fitness, push me, it's affordable group fitness, right? And she can push me because she knows my weakness, right? So she's here and she's helping me, motivate me, keep it going. Hey, you got to go to that bathing suit. You got to go. You got that, and I would tell her I would come 2-3 times a day if I had to, 2 times at least sometimes, because I was like, oh, I got this shoot coming up and I'm not ready. Oh, I have this video coming up and I'm not ready. And she would be like, all right, I'm here, and we would do it. So, there's no doubt in my mind that she can do anything like that. And that's what she should do. She has the skill set to do that, right? So a lot of us have skill sets that, other people recognize. And sometimes it's really good to talk about our passions with other people so they can help us, right? And you're welcome. It's just the truth. I tell the truth. So once we evaluate, then we figure out if there's a market in our area. If there's not a market in our area, hey, there's nothing wrong with being brave and going and finding where it is. Go market yourself and do what you got to do in that area. Dominate it. Once you figure it out that they need you or they need your service, and this is not a bad thing. Dominate it. Build your legacy. Start it right there. That's your foundation. And bam, you got the history. You got the experience. Everybody that comes after you has to live up to your reputation and your standards of greatness, right? There we go. So that's what you got to do. So you figure it out. If you're not afraid to, don't be afraid. Go with friends, relatives, loved one in different cities, counties, countries, whatever it takes. States, go. Don't be afraid. Go. Just do it. Don't be afraid. You got people who will support you. Find your mentor and go with them. They'll take you under the wing. Even if you got to go sleep on the couch for a while or take the spare bedroom, whatever. Do what you got to do. Right. And Claire says, everyone needs a hero. Yeah, we do. And it's, we also should if we recognize something great in someone else, it is our responsibility to let them know. And also, not only our responsibility to let them know that we recognize something great in them, but what can we do to help you? What do you need to help you? Because sometimes it's the small things that you can do. Sometimes you could just listen and evaluate. You can listen to what they have to say. You can just listen to them. I've had people that listen to me and critique my work. You know what I'm saying? I have a producer that critiques my work. Like I said, I did the audiobook of recording and he listened back and he said, okay, hey, that's great. This time, all right, let's go back over this part again. You know what I'm saying? He critiqued me and I was open to it. It's constructive and it's good for me, right? So I'm there. He was there to do what he needed to do. Together we will achieve the greatness. That's why you got to have a good motivator, even at home, having, your spouse tell you, hey, you can't give up. You got to go. People are waiting on you. People need you. People, I've heard that. People need you. Get out there and go do your thing. Go do it. You got to do it. People need your greatness. They want to hear you. You don't realize how much you inspire other people. Go do it. And that pushes what I needed to go do it. And so a lot of times that's our responsibility as not only friends, relatives, families, spouses, or, family members or whatever, but also as human beings. We should nurture one another. See what you're good at and share and give them the little push that they need. Sometimes they need a little push. Sometimes they might need a little financial help too. Whatever it is, give it if you can. You never know. Effort is everything. Effort is 100%. Any good effort is 100% to me. It's better than any dollar. You know what I mean? Because you were really there to support me. That's what I'm saying, right? Okay. So then once you have evaluated the market and you're not afraid to go, you get that place that you need to get to, right? Once you're there, right? Once you get there, then you have to figure out, Okay, so now what exactly am I going to do in this arena? Okay, now, once I figured out, I've narrowed it down per se. Then I got to go check out the competition. Who am I up against? What am I up against? Who am I competing with? Okay, so these are who I'm competing with in this market, whether I'm in sales, marketing, voice work, actress, actor, model, medical professional, doctor, dentist, whatever I am, retail, whatever I'm a mall, a mega mall, whatever I am, grocery store, anything that I am, I got to go in and I've got to figure out my competition, check them out, right? And lastly, I've got to go in and test my skill set, test my niche. What is it that I'm doing? Let's make it real. Okay, now I put pen to pad. Now I've checked everything out. I've got a plan together. I'm well organized. Everything is good to go. Now, let me put myself out there. I'm an artist. Here's my mixtape. Here's my single. Hey, here's my showcase. Organize. Invest in yourself. Make yourself professional and organized. Pay for your showcases. Pay for your photographers. Pay for your sessions. Pay for whatever. Go do whatever it takes as an artist to get out there and market yourself and do what you got to do, right? You got to do it if that's your thing. If you're a salesperson, hey, see a car on the road for sale, a sign sale on it, it's a good car. Okay, call the person and say, hey, you know what? I saw your sign, and you know what? I think I'm one heck of a salesperson. Would you give me a chance to try to sell this car? Then go over there, put the number down or whatever, put your number down and their number down or whatever, talk all about it, make an agreement with the person. If you can sell that car, hey, I'll take 10%. You know what I mean? Just test it out, or even 5% or no percent, whatever. Just let me see if I can sell this car. I mean, there's lots of things that you can do. You have to be creative about it and try to figure it out, right? You got to try to figure it out. So you can do it. You got to test it. So finally, that's pretty much what it is, So there are all kinds of things and resources that you can use. Again, like I said, you can go to blogs, you can watch live videos, you can pretty much watch all kinds of things. You can read. There's so much information on the internet, as you know already, but just narrow down your search, but really just take some time to really just be in your creative space, write everything down, write what you're good at, be honest with yourself. If maybe you're not so great at it, maybe it's just a dream, whatever, maybe it's a dream that you can pursue and do. There it is. Thank you, and you figured it out. Otherwise, basically, you can just go down and you can take they have all kinds of little personality tests, all kinds of career tests. Now that you can get them for free, maybe you might have to subscribe to their blog or subscribe to their site, but there are all kinds that you can do. I know that I do a lot of reading on my topics so that I kind of see if my advice is actually in line with what's been published or whatever. And a lot of times it is, again, you just kind of have to figure it out. Take a real good look at it and what you're interested in. And a lot of times there's people that are online that do live shows that they're experts and they have free seminars or they have free webinars and you can hop on and ask questions. So I hope that this information has helped you on what you might be able to do. There are just 5 very small ways to find your niche. They are broad, they're very general, but at the same time, they are attainable. These are things that you can do at very little expense to yourself. So I would suggest that you invest in yourself, whatever that takes, but start slow and work your way up. So you can always go back and watch the video. You could also share it on your page. Please like and subscribe. Also next week, I am open for topics next week. So you can inbox me here on Facebook. You can actually DM me on Instagram if you're already on there. If you don't follow me on Instagram, you can definitely follow me on Instagram. I go live for both, and it's hey _ so it's hey with 6 Y's _ miss _ Hayes on Instagram. And also, if you're watching on Instagram and you don't follow me on Facebook, I always go live on Facebook, and you can follow me there at it's R-I Hayes Williams. You can catch me there, and you can watch the show. I do make it public. So join me next week at 9 p.m. Central Standard, right here on Facebook and IG Live, as we go live at 9 p.m. Central Standard again for season 2, episode 32, which is my final episode for season 2. And I am looking for topics as well. So give me a final topic. I don't know what it's going to be there on Instagram next week. I always do topics that are suggested by my viewers or by my followers or by people who want to talk about stuff. It's a whole broad spectrum of topics. So you can DM me on Instagram, or you can Facebook inbox me and let me know whatever it is. But that's basically what it is. Next week, it'll be whatever y'all say it is. And it'll be 32 of season 2. we'll wrap up, and then we'll be on a break. We'll come back for season 3, and we'll come back on Thursday night at 9 p.m. instead of Wednesday at 9 p.m. And that is for worship reasons and things like that. I'm changing my day because I have an opportunity to have some good soul food with the word on Wednesday nights. So that's what I want to do on Wednesday nights. So I'm going to change our show to Thursday nights, which is also good because it's Friday's Eve. A lot of people stay up later on Thursday nights, right? Am I right? Okay. All right. So I will see you guys next week here. Please go back on. You can comment after. After the show, you can comment. Also, I'll still see it. Inbox me or DM me. Let me know your topic suggestion for next week. That is our 32nd episode, season 2. It is the final. Come on. If you have any more comments or anything like that, let me know. Otherwise, I will see you guys next week. Please go back and watch the show. Please like, subscribe, share. And also next week, if you're on Facebook, you can host a watch party. So let's try to see if you might be interested in that. I do have my notes. So we'll go from there. So I'll see you guys next week. Love you lots. And don't forget to message me. And remember, there's always a little time to be fancy, and that's me. So I'll see y'all next week. Thank you for everything. Thank you for contributing. I love you guys.